everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing another DC Universe Classic review, and that will be of the Walmart exclusive Gotham City 5-pack. Look at this bad boy right here. I actually had to go to Super Walmart to get this, which makes me assume that it is Super Walmarts are the best place to get any Walmart exclusive. So I'm going to have to keep that in mind when the new wave comes out, Wave 10. But yeah, Gotham City 5-pack in this. We got Superman and Batman, both recolorings of previous molds. We got Catwoman, which is a recoloring of the DC Superhero Catwoman, and a recoloring of the DC Superhero Two-Face, and an exclusive Lex Luthor figure. Little wrestling got in there. Lex Luthor is right there. He's kind of the anchor. He's the pull, the draw to the set. So this is the Gotham City 5-pack. Just take a look at the box. I have not opened it at all. I've been hesitating for like 2 days to open this, but I have not because I was down at a wedding. And just take a look at the back. Yes, nothing really too impressive. Standard DC Universe Classic-like casing. So let me take these out of the packages, kind of get a feel for them, really get to know if I like them or not, and then we'll get into the actual review. So, be right back. So, it's been a couple of hours, more like 8 hours, so I have gotten to know the figures, and I think I can give a pretty good review at this point. So, let's start things off. The one thing you need to know about the Gotham City 5-pack is all the figures, with the exception of the Lex Luthor figure, are recolorings of previous DC Superhero or DC Universe Classic figures. Lex Luthor, I'm not sure if the head is actually taken from the DC Superhero Lex Luthor. I might pick up that figure someday, but don't know. So with that said, Mrs. Cutter is making faces in the background. With that said, let's start things off with Two-Face. Now, I'm not going to do character bios for Two-Face or Lex Luthor. We don't have enough time, so let's just get into it. Here is Two-Face. He is a recoloring of the DC Superheroes Two-Face, and he does not have his accessories with him. Now, the original DC Superhero Two-Face had a white and black color scheme with pinstripes on it, and the face was red instead of green, or a pinkish color, whatever. The color scheme here is obviously the orange and purple with pinstripes, and green for the color, green for the face, and you got gray and a little bit of black highlights into the hair. You have green for one hand and peach for the other. Now, he doesn't come with any accessories. The articulation and the arms are pretty standard for a Mattel figure. The head can only turn from side to side. Don't know if it's just my figure or not, but it doesn't really move up to down. And the legs do have the full Mattel articulation. However, because of the suit itself, it's limited. Now, the figure on the whole, this is probably one of the figures that I probably like the least out of this set. Now, I really want to get the DC Superhero Two-Face. Now, although it's the same exact figure, that figure comes with accessories, like a Tommy gun, and I think it comes with a coin, I'm not sure. This one, the color scheme, the thing about it is the color scheme just doesn't work for me. Although this is the color scheme that was used during the mid-90s, the Chuck Dixon era for Batman, it's not a color scheme I necessarily like overwhelmingly that much. I'd rather have the black and white. I don't know, I just think I like it better. The figure is not bad, however. They do put enough detail in the face, and he's overall okay. It's just this figure really needs the accessories for it to stand out. It feels just kind of plain. So this is Two-Face. I'll give you my overall opinions on him at the end when I do the set as a whole. With that said, let's get into Catwoman. Catwoman, just like Two-Face, is a recoloring of the DC Superhero Catwoman, which I praised beforehand being one of the best Catwoman figures there is. This figure, obviously, the big changes is, one, you do not have the backpack she comes with, and she only comes with one accessory, and that's her whip. She's the only character that actually comes with the accessory in the set. It's her whip. For some reason, it doesn't fit as well in her hand as the DC Superhero figure does. The hands actually look different. Don't know. Maybe I'm just losing it. Now, obviously, the big color scheme difference is the purple. But also the quality on this figure is a little different too, because for the arms, and if you watch JTrain 997's video, you will see why. The arms are actually weaker on this figure than it is on the DC superhero figure, which I have. So the quality is a little bit lower on this. However, I have to comment that although it's not quite as good as the DC superhero Catwoman, it's still a fairly good figure. Let me just check one thing. They fixed up the problem with the paint on the face. It's actually all one skin tone in the lips rather than being fucking ridiculous in the center. And the eyes you can actually see through more through the translucent lens. Now, although I do prefer the other color scheme, the black, better, this one you actually get to see the lining in her suit a lot better. It stands out a bit more, and the purple is okay. Do I think it's better than the DC superhero figure? No. The DC superhero Catwoman, although they're the same figure, has more to it. It has better quality plastic, and the black color scheme just works better. But this is still a good figure, and besides the issues with the arms and the plastic being different, the plastic is different. I'll get into that when I go into the other figures. She is still a good standard figure. So, putting her down, I mean, she's a good mold. She's one of the best Catwoman molds. It's more or less the color and the lack of accessories. Let's get on to, let's do Bats next. Now, Batman, this is obviously a recoloring of the DC Universe Classic Detective Batman mold. It's pretty evident we've had this mold twice beforehand, and we're having it one more time after this. We had it for the DC Universe Classic Wave 1 figure. We've had it for the Batman and Clayface 2-pack, and we're going to have it again for the Walmart exclusive Wave 10, where he's all black, and I think that's kind of reminiscent of the Tim Burton movie. But who knows? So as you can see, this is what we call pure Batman. He does not have shit on him at all. One thing I can comment about this figure, though I've had this mold constantly over and over again, this is my third figure with this mold, it is still good mold, and I feel as though this color scheme really makes the mold itself stand out better than the previous color scheme. Although I do like the colors on the Wave 1 figure better, you can actually see the body mold a lot better, and it just looks a lot better on this figure. Now, one thing I want to do comment is, with the arms, actually on my figure are incredibly weak. The quality on these plastics for the arms are just ridiculously bad. I'm not happy with it at all. And he doesn't have any shadowing on him at all. Zilch. So, although he's a good mold, and the color scheme really does make the mold stand out a bit more, the arms, this could snap at any time with enough excessive force, especially seeing that the shoulder joint is very weak, and the cape likes to go against it, and the fact that they just didn't put any detail into him. But I'll give you again my overall opinion with him at the end. So put him down. Moving on to Supes. Now Supes is actually the guy that's actually the weakest in the whole entire line. Batman just fell there. At least I feel as though he is. I mean, we've had this Superman mold again 3 times. We've had him in Wave 6 with long hair, and then we've had him with the Brainiac 2-pack, which is the exact same figure, only the red eyes. Now, see, although I do like that mold, the one thing that makes this figure weak is the cape. Now, not just is the cape short in it itself, but if you look here, it's not even held down at the shoulders. This is a big problem for me. It just looks very cheap. Although the one thing I can say about this figure is probably the most well-built out of all the figures. It doesn't feel like it's going to break. It feels very solid. I mean, I could throw this against the wall and piss on it. I'm sure it'd still be good the next morning. So the figure itself is built well. The cape is just horrendous. And honestly, although I like Superman with shorter hair, the longer hair is better for this mold. I think the DC superhero Superman is a better mold if you want shorter hair. The hair, although it's detailed a bit, and there is no shadowing detail on him at all. So we'll get into him at the end along with the others. Let's see if Superman wants to stay there. Next is, of course, the draw for this whole entire thing, and that's the Lex Luthor exclusive, done in his sinister scientist-like costume. This is a costume that you see Lex Luthor wore mostly during the 60s, during the campy era, but also during the Super Friends TV show, and also a bit in the modern continuity. He wore this when he was kind of an outlaw. He wears it a lot underneath his Lex Luthor tech suit. This figure I'm actually fairly impressed with, although his color scheme is a little flamboyant, to say the least. I mean, pink and green really don't work well together. At least I don't think. Do you think? You? At all? No?
On occasion.
On occasion? Yeah. It's Lex Luthor, so you let it slide. The body mold, although I can't really tell, it looks like it's from the Nightwing body mold. He has this straps right here, which are actually nice additions to the figure. It's good they're not just painted on. He also has his little capsules there on his legs too. These are actually plastic accessories. They're not actually painted on there. Despite the fact the color scheme is a little bit flamboyant, it does work well for this figure. He has a little bit of shadowing, but not enough. The face mold is very nice, and that's what's the draw for this figure, is the face. Despite the fact that he has the collar and the straps here, in the capsules here, in the capsules on the straps, it's really the face, which really encompasses a classic look for Lex Luthor. So, Lex Luthor is a good figure from this wave. The only problem I have with my figure personally, and with this figure itself, is the lack of accessory. He really needs a gun to shoot someone in the head with. And for the legs are just a little loose, but hey, shit happens. So let's just go through the figures one at a time, and then one at a time, tell you whether they're good or bad, and then we'll just talk about the set as a whole. And I'll go in descending order, the figure that I think is the worst to the figure that I think is the best. So definitely the weakest figure in this whole entire set is the Superman figure. This figure is just, it's like putting a mini skirt on some kind of fat chick. I mean, you put this short, skimpy little, like, cape right here on this jacked individual. It just looks like it doesn't belong. Superman needs a longer cape. The mold itself isn't bad. You know, there's one thing is, coming from someone like me who's had this mold several times, I'm getting sick of it. However, that doesn't take away from the fact that the mold is not bad. The mold is still good. But the lack of detail on him and just the crappy cape with that shit, and it's definitely the weakest figure out of the wave. It just doesn't look as good as the other figures. Coming in as the second weakest figure would definitely be the Two-Face figure. And the reason for this is not necessarily the color scheme, because they did do a fairly good job with it, although I do prefer the other one more, even though I don't have the figure. The thing about this figure is it doesn't have accessories to make it stand out. It's very plain, despite he's disfigured on one side of his face, but it's very plain. If they had accessories, the figure would stand out more, and I would like it more. So really, if they gave him the gun, I would give this figure a higher score, but it's still fairly weak. Is it bad? No. Is it great? No. It's just definitely one of the weaker figures from the wave. I mean, how are you going to display it? Him going like, I mean, without accessories, he's nothing. Coming in third place would be Batman. Now, I do like this figure a lot, despite the fact that he does have the weak joints, and he does have the lack of detailing on him. Again, with the Superman figure, okay, we've had this thing, 2 times already, and we're going to have it one more time afterwards. God, do a new mold. But I can't take anything away from this mold. This is one of the better Batman molds there is out there. So coming just from a standard point of view, it is a good mold. I do have my problems, especially with the arms, but it is the mid figure of the set. Coming in second place is the Catwoman figure. The only figure with accessory. This figure, I mean, it's good. This is definitely a chance to get Catwoman if you couldn't get your hands on her beforehand. She's not as good as her DC superhero figure counterpart, which is better quality plastic and color scheme is black. It feels a little out of place with the purple. It's a nice little change with the figure, but on a whole, she's a good figure. No major complaints, just not as good as the original. And last but not least, the winner of this is Lex Luthor, with the only complaint with him at all would actually be the fact he doesn't have a gun. I'm thinking about taking the Brainiac gun and give it to him, which apparently the Brainiac gun is originally Lex Luthor's gun, so there you go. So, I'll just hold Lexi here, because Lex is a man. On a whole, the wave itself, the set itself, now you're going to be paying a pretty penny for this. This is quite expensive for this wave. Each figure is about $10 each, so if you factor it out, it's going to be an expensive set. there's going to be one set of people that should not pick this up and one set of people that should pick this up. And I'm going to give this to you from an unbiased opinion, if I can do that. You should pick this up if you do not have any of these figures. Pan on these figures for a second, please. Just take a look. These figures right here, if you do not have the Batman mold from Wave 1 of the 2-pack, you do not have this from Wave 6 of the 2-pack, you do not have this from the DC superhero line, you should pick up this. This is a great way to start the series. These are good molds. Despite their flaws, they're good molds. However, I mean, this is really for people that do not have these molds. If you're someone like me that has these figures already, if you already have this Batman mold 9 million times over, you probably don't want to pick it up. Despite the fact that it's a Lex Luthor figure, I would suggest going on eBay to get them. In addition to that, these figures are built with a little less quality in the plastics than they were built in the Universe Classic regular line and the superhero line. And it is less quality plastic because, I mean, like I said, check out JTrain99's video. His Catwoman figure broke off. I manhandled my Catwoman upstairs several times, and she is, I could chop her in half with a sword, and she's standing there like adamantium figure. She is golden. So the plastic quality is a lot less in these figures. So if you're a person that already has the Batman figure, already has the Superman figure, don't bother getting it. But if you don't have Batman, if you don't have Superman, if you don't have any of these figures, if you can't find Batman from Wave 1, if you can't find him in the 2-pack, if you can't find these figures, this is a good place to get them. On the whole, do I recommend it? It's really up to the buyer. But buyer beware, the quality is a little bit less in this than it would be in the other figures. And I do recommend going to Super Walmarts to pick these up, because I went to several Walmarts before finding it at a Super Walmart in the Cape. So really, it just all comes down to what you want. So with that said, I leave it all in your hands. Just, again, buyer beware, a little lower quality, and the original figures are by far better. I would take the Wave 1 figure of this and the superhero version of this over these guys, but doesn't mean they're bad figures or bad molds, just the originals are better. So I'm going to end the review here. With that said, this is Andrew saying, oh, and Mrs. Cutter in the background saying, peace out for now.